welcome to the A. Marie Speaks podcast, where I'm talking about all things introspection, spirituality, and happiness. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm going to be circling back to the topic of infinite intelligence, down into a deeper layer, the body's intelligence. So if these terms are kind of new to you, you could check out a previous blog that I did on the topic, or definitely there are a ton of others out there talking about this universal consciousness or infinite intelligence. Some of my favorite people are Bruce Lipton or Graham Hancock, Max Egan. All these people come at it from a different angle, but they all see it for what it is. There is some sort of entanglement of intelligent design going on in this world, right? And so I am exploring that topic, and today I'll be reading an audio version of a blog I wrote recently on the body's infinite intelligence. I want to give a disclaimer here at the start, just to say that this is a newer concept that I have left to percolate in the back of my mind for a few months. And I've been slowly unpacking this concept of infinite intelligence and working and aligning it with theories around the ether and free energy. It's very interesting. There's so many interwoven aspects there in knowledge. So if the topic of ether is new to you, definitely check out some things on that. If science, if you have a scientific mind, and you like that kind of stuff, it's pretty cool. It's also a very deep and complex subject. But as always, I am reserving the right to update, alter, or abandon altogether these words and opinions mentioned here at any point in time in my life, if I happen to be presented with alternative ideas or input that I feel adds weight to or bearing on changing my opinion, right? I hope that also you all allow yourself that same freedom of understanding and interpretation, not only when you listen to me, but when you listen to all people, most certainly, and especially when you're listening to yourself, right? So the initial premise here will be our body's infinite intelligence. And like I said, if this is a new concept to you, you can check out my prior blog. I'll link it in the description. But for now, I'm just going to dive into the layer here of examination, right? Where we could imagine a world, the universe, all forms within it, to be made up of some form of intelligent information, which is directly derived from the source of creation, or God, or whatever you choose to call that. And that intelligence is all interconnected in some eternal, infinite way, which is beyond our exact comprehension as humans in our mind-body complex space that we are in right now. So I'm taking that level of understanding, or what I'm calling a filter, right, and applying it to our own selves, our bodies, our being. In simplest terms, we can see the human being as made up of 3 sets of these intelligent bodies: the mind, body, and spirit. Each one has its own purpose, understanding, role, and different capabilities. Yet they are also intertwined and codependent on each other. The particular aspect that I would like to expand on right now is the body's portion of these intelligences. So this would be traditionally seen or interpreted as things like the autonomic nervous system, the subconscious, or the unconscious mind. It relates to all the constant, seemingly automatic functions that take place in your vessel, as well as all the functions which take place while you're asleep or literally unconscious, right? Like you're in a coma, for example. There are still functions that are taking place when people are in comas, depending on what the, of course, the underlying issues are and the organs affected and all of that. They might have subsequent damage in a certain area where a machine is providing support for that function, but other functions like brain function, heartbeat perhaps, are going on their own still, right? Also, another type of body intelligence is seen when we zone out for certain uncertain amounts of time, right? We all do that. Whether it's while you're driving and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I was just automatically driving here. I took a wrong turn. Or walking or doing something that you enjoy too. Dancing or a sport or knitting, doing the dishes. A lot of things, these things we zone out doing, right? But yet plenty of functions are still taking place. There isn't tons of intelligent systems that are interacting with each other on this other unconscious level. This type of intelligence is also the main director during physical movements when you're participating in a mechanical skill or a sport or a trick, right? Once the technical learning portion of an activity is completed and you know what task needs to be completed, your body intelligence takes the wheel, sort of, and it drives all the movements. Because, and mostly this is, I'm speaking directly about like athletics and skills during sports, like tricks. If you speak with, or you are or were an athlete of some sort, then you know very much the amount of visualization and mental practice that actually goes into the physical practice. It's actually more important. If that intrigues you and you find curiosity in that, I would say check out Matt Belair. He is an amazing speaker, author, athlete, Zen athlete, and he talks so much about imagination and using visualization and meditation to get to these extreme sports states where we do amazing tricks and amazing feats that people just can't believe the human body could even do. And also, like, I enjoy speaking about this because I can speak from my own personal experience on this concept, because for 10 years of my life, my childhood, I did gymnastics, and I loved it. From the first day I took a class, I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and my body just knew what to do. It was exhilarating and freeing for my spirit and for my emotional state too. But there's this deeper level to it, which I can't even explain. My body just knew how to fling itself around. All the while, like sensing the ground, noticing my torque, my motion, feeling gravity, and calculating how to land or fall or not, learning that balance between how to land your body through experience and through mistakes. Looking back at it, it's just amazing to me. For years after I stopped practicing gymnastics, I would dream the motions. I would dream that I was in the gym, how it felt to run and be free. It taps into a totally different aspect of my being. And it's undeniable. And I talk a lot about undeniable truths. I love sensing and it almost getting like a feel for undeniable truths, because they're so fluid and velvety. They're there and guiding. They're obvious and thick, but they're fluid and moving, and they're different for everyone. And so when you get a feel or a grasp of an undeniable truth like this freedom and movement, the body intelligence connection, that is a source connection of creation. And it's beautiful. And if you've ever been an athlete, or you've ever done something in the zone with your body, a dancer, or even learned a mechanical skill of some kind, you can resonate with this autopilot, knowing mastery type of Zen feeling that takes over once you've learned a task. That's the space of functioning and consciousness that I really am attempting to explore in this blog and in this podcast. Now, the blog was inspired by these downloads which came through to me, which I have left, I spoke about at the very start, left some things percolating for quite a while, trying to unpack these downloads and integrate information. Because the original came to me in the shower, in a metaphor, as is my style of receivership. Getting to know your style of receivership is very important in learning how to work with signs and messages and downloads. So this one came, and it was an immediate imprint of a scene from Harry Potter, and it was Hogwarts, the castle in particular, with emphasis. And if you've never read the books, or you're so over the movies or whatever, I'm not offended at all, but please don't let that stop you from hearing out this message that's actually inside the Harry Potter theme, because it's really, I feel, is valuable esoteric knowledge. I think that it is no accident that there are so many truth nuggets inside children's books and legends, and these children's stories, these fables we speak and hand down to our children. And yes, Harry Potter is new, but the creator loves curiosity, excitement, surprises, right? And so it can freely reveal its precious secrets through the only means that it can, right? The ether and imagination. That is source essence in its freest form. And who taps into more of the imagination than authors writing stories intended for children, right? Or intending to inspire childlike curiosity, which is really what I feel adult authors are doing too, because especially books like Harry Potter, where it's not specifically a fable, it's not a fairy tale child toddler type of picture book. It is real knowledge, and it's 7 books. It's a ton of reading, so it's definitely it's geared towards older children, or to be read by an adult to a child, right? And so, but the point is that authors are tapping into that imagination field when they're getting in that zone, and it brings through beautiful truth nuggets. So never let the fact that it's written for a child or whatever, it's written as a fairy tale, deter you from hearing the underlying truths inside there, because humans are righteous creator beings at our core. And so it's only natural that when we tap into the creative force, we create stories which have moral, harmonic themes where justice prevails and good triumphs over evil. And in the end, that's what Harry Potter is all about. So in this first download that I was given, I was shown a comparison between the body vessel and the castle, Hogwarts. Specifically, the magical divine imagination undertone of faith-based knowing, which most people call belief. But I just feel like that word is so watered down and twisted, and it has lie right in the middle of it. I try not to use that word. But the magic of Harry Potter and the faith that goes into the magic of witchcraft, of knowing you're a witch or a wizard, and being able to tap into the magic, knowing the incantations, knowing the way, the structuring of that world, how it works, and all of that is very much a mirrored reflection of faith and religion, yeah, quote unquote, what religion tries to be, true religion, true spiritual knowledge, sort of esoteric knowledge, maybe, occult. There's good and bad to everything, so let's not get caught up on phrases here. But anyways, it's a similarity between magic and religion, just like magic and science, right? There's so many commonalities where we can draw metaphors from. And so the download, when it showed me this scene from Harry Potter, it was a undertone of having and remembering and knowing the deep, deep magic, original, organic, strong, undeniable truths that are the love and glue energy which holds our reality together. And if you know it and you realize it and you learn it and you speak to it, it is there for you. Just like if you know the castle and you learn their secrets and you can speak the words to it, it will be there for you in magical ways. It has these beautiful defenses, these beautiful protections, all just waiting for you to put into use for it, right? And this is what I was seeing about the body, because so does the body. And the vision, the filter was inspired by this concept of that magical, alive castle, and to work with the body's intelligence and to get in touch with that via the vessel. The castle is a metaphor for the vessel, for the instrument that we are. And the magic held within the castle is our source connection to our energy, to ether, your spirit, whatever you are, you choose to phrase it or look at it as. Now, in case you never read the books, the castle is a magically built building, which is the product of the combination of 4 great witches who were all different, yet worked together to make the school. It's important to know that because the school in itself encompasses both light and dark sides of magic, which are seeking to find harmony as a whole. Sound familiar, right? As above, so below. This is why when you start to learn how to read and hear the morals, the messages, the lessons of karma, you start to see the cycles. It's so familiar. Everywhere you look, it's playing over and over again, over itself. A lot of the inner rooms, items, the ghosts, the paintings, the stairs, they have personalities of their own in the books. The building's ancient, can change and alter its appearance. It has lots of stored secrets from throughout time. Even those who've worked and lived within the castle for their whole lives, like Dumbledore and Hagrid, admit that they only have a limited knowledge and understanding of the magic within the castle. It's such a relevant metaphor to the body knowledge. Even our greatest, most learned minds of the real world, of today's world, have such a limited understanding and knowledge of the body vessel. The castle is alive in a way, and through the books we see how different ghost spells and enchantments are called up or activated and recognized only at certain times, only under certain circumstances, right? Our body and our bodily functions take place in pretty much the same way. If you can loosen your definition of chemical and electrical physiology enough to rename it magic, why not, right? It's just a word. It's just a word. The filter of interpretation brings you down to this level of unknown functionality and magical operation that is taking place within our own physical bodies all the time. The organs, cells, the energy, the atoms contain magic within them. so much like the amazing, unique beings that roam through the Hogwarts castle, right? If you can tap into this knowledge and apply the filter, you will experience a whole different level of connectedness with your physical vessel. This connection and companionship awakens within you a unique communication capability with your body. You become a witch or wizard within the castle, so to speak. And you are able to call up and connect with that magic intelligence inside. The body recognizes your energetic authority and will listen to you. It will respond and protect you as it sees you as the captain, the boss, or ultimate source creator, right? In the infinite intelligence, and I spoke about this metaphor of cell consciousness compared to the whole body, and that human consciousness can be seen in that same lens if you choose to see humans like a cell, an individual cell in a body, and source creator as the entire body. It's a beautiful way to start working with and understanding levels of consciousness and awareness. But back to my download. So the download was the scene, if you're familiar with it, with the books, when Professor McGonagall calls out and awakens the suits of armor, telling them Hogwarts is under attack and they must uphold their duty to protect the castle. The connection I was specifically shown here was with the immune system, or what I like to refer to as your army, just because I don't really like the structuring and the labels that come along with modern science's definition of what they consider to be the immune system. But that's a conversation for a whole nother time. For your army inside of your vessel is comparable to Professor McGonagall and those suits of armor, because we each have that authority to command our army. It has ancient ties to us and will defend the vessel in ways we could never consciously do alone. There is an entire platoon of soldiers inside of you which has this knowledge base, all of their own, who defend you and will continue to defend you if you let them. If you trust in them and know how to call them into action. Of course, right? You don't poison them. But how do we get to this place of knowing? You might be asking, how do we even learn words to speak, right? I constantly am asking myself these questions myself, re-examining them and looking for new ways, new answers. Because this time, this practice, it takes time and dedication. And first most, it takes faith. And if that's something that you struggle with, then you're definitely not alone. It can be helpful to remember that faith is not a physical thing. It's an energetic thing. And it is not exterior. It is internal. That's why I really like the metaphor of magic, because it's a similar idea. Magic comes from within. No muggle can get magic, right? Many people are put off by the concept of magic because it's make-believe. Well, herein lies the rub, right? Since quote-unquote magic is a broad term loosely used to describe something presently appearing as unexplainable. We can see plenty examples across history of many now perfectly explainable things which used to be deemed magic, or demonic, or God, or a miracle, right? Or aliens, or whatever. Clearly, the term is misused, right? So maybe it's time that we release that stigma around the word magic. If we lay the lens of magic over our physical vessel, we can see how easily, magically, our heart pumps, our eyeballs stay wet, or a fingernail grows. We have no idea how or why the input comes through for those functions. But it must come from somewhere, right? This is where faith can create the bridge and lead you into that deeper world of working with your body intelligence. The word magic, in my opinion, is another word for imagination. It is my understanding that these two pull and operate within the ether. Our imagination is the space in which we create from. All things ever created in the physical must first spring out of the fertile ground inside the soul, the imagination. Once you claim your role and start to awaken these instructions within your imagination, you'll be surprised at the amount of new info you receive from your body all the time. It amazes me. Continuously, it amazes me. Listening to truly hear, right? And to be of assistance is the best energetic approach when you're going to try this work. And it's a difficult energy to cultivate. A witness, one who is there to truly hear and assist. To not listen with your personal filter activated. This is the energetic approach needed for this work, needed for a ton of work in this universal plane. It's a difficult energy to cultivate. I'll say it again. I struggle continuously myself. Meditation and observation are the best techniques to gain awareness. Just try not to rush yourself or to expect immediate, obvious results. This is slow, subtle work, which you have to add to energetically over time in order to see the benefits. But know and believe, understand, you are worth it, and it does pay off in the end. It's so important, even for myself, to read those words and remind myself of that every day. This place of knowing, connection, and communion is where the second download came in, and where my second download builds its foundation off of. The second half of the job is maintaining the communication in the most balanced and beneficial way. There's a type of work that comes with new realizations, right? But then there's the working of that knowledge that also then come into play through maintenance and use of that new information. This is where the imagination really comes into play. All the mental work that comes in with incorporating new knowledge and trying out different methods takes place inside your imagination. That space has a direct line of communication, like a loudspeaker in each room of a school. And your subconscious is the voice which blabs over it all day long. The second part is all about taking control of the speaker, planning your announcements better, right? Repetition is the only way to do this. It's monitoring. It comes with monitoring the feedback you receive, right? The better you operate and the better that you practice, the smoother your operation and organization skills get, the better your internal performance will become. And as a result, beautifully, your outward appearance will become better as well. Now, this is totally independent work, which develops completely into and by personal preference. So, there's literally no right or wrong approach, message, or understanding. This kind of leniency can put off some people. The vagueness can cause confusion and leave a person with more questions than answers. To this, I say that's only natural, and it should not be a deterrent. I've struggled hard with letting go of control and accepting openness and the unknown. So believe me, I get it. If you're struggling, Oh, I get it, believe me. It's okay, though. That is the point. Stop trying to trick yourself that is not the point. Take your time to identify where your anxiety or fear of the unknown is actually coming from. And once you've come to grips with that rung, then climb higher. Don't rush yourself. Don't reach for what you're not ready for. If you're feeling stable and ready, well then, let your body intelligence take the lead and see where it takes you to that next step. I'm doing just that. And I plan to continue to do that and continue this conversation. I will be continuing with part 2, where I will dive deeper into what exactly the imagination is and how I work with mine. I'm going to give some examples of my work and the progress that I've been making with this practice. I really wanted to give some quick daily tips here at the end before I close out. And they are ways and practices to engage your body's infinite intelligence. Firstly, meditation, of course, always. Pull your consciousness down into your body and try your best to just feel around with openness and curiosity during your time of meditation. Anytime during the day, when it's convenient for you, feel your physical body. Feel your feet on the ground, the air as you breathe in or out. Blink slowly and really feel it. Another is to ruminate on how your body is like a magic castle. Imagine the type of beings and energies that would reside in different areas in your body. Write it out. Draw it out. What would your heart look like? Build a room for it in your castle. What would inhabit your lungs, your intestines, your veins? Right? Think about these things. Let your imagination have some fun. Lighten up with it, right? If there was a personality for your organ systems, what would they be like? Have conversations with them. Allow space for them to build their personality. If this makes no sense, just work on allowing space and freeness for fun and creativity. Spend time imagining what your inner plumbing or your energy, your circulatory system looks like, your pulse, right? Your breath and your respiratory system. Spend time envisioning what they look like as they're functioning. Notice when you go into auto mode or autopilot. Try to realign your conscious mind in that present moment every time that happens. And when you can, if you can, make a mental note or try to identify what might have led you to slip into that subconscious state, right? So that next time you can keep an awareness. It's helpful to learn what puts you in the zone, right, for times when you need to ground. But it's also helpful to understand what gets you out and into the conscious mind as well, to avoid the zoning out when you don't want it to happen. Another thing to try is mantras for connecting with the body's infinite intelligence. You can repeat things to yourself like, I am open to communicating with my body. I am conscious in my body. And I feel safe and present in my body. I am the master of my domain. Another one is a common, famous practice. I am not the body. I am not the mind. And this one might seem counterproductive, but it helps you to gauge where your physical body actually begins and ends, which helps solidify the feeling of your physical boundaries, as well as bring in coherence to all three intelligences. So I really do encourage people to always try that one. Look at your body with love and acceptance. Truly, when you glance your hand, when you glance down, when you catch yourself in the mirror, tell yourself, my body's perfect. My body is happy. I am health. I am hydrated. I am high functioning. Especially when you feel it is not. This is crucial. Don't assume either that you are faking the feelings while you say them or think them, or that you need to fake and make up that you feel it. Just allow yourself to speak the words as they are at the moment. Even if it's sarcastic, even if it's bitter, even if it makes you cry or stutter or gasp. Say, my body is perfect, happy, I am health, I am hydrated, I am high functioning. My cells are happy, healthy, hydrated, high functioning. I say this all the time. And I just allow the way in the day and the emotions to be there. The pain or discomfort, the judgments or the happiness, the coherence, the harmony I feel sometimes. It changes, but and things improve, and it does evolve over time. It improves over time. So much less and chronic pain and all these things that I've struggled with, So I'm speaking from hard experience. It's tough to do, but the work it does pay off. If you are struggling with this, or even if you're not, you try mirror work as well. It's a great starter practice for self-acceptance and love. And these concepts are difficult, painful, and bittersweet sometimes for us. So if you're feeling that way, get in the mirror. Or every time you glance in a mirror or catch a reflection somewhere, think to yourself, thank you, body, for holding my spirit here. I love you for that. It doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be loving every single aspect. It's just not picking at or critiquing and holding that all-encompassing thank you, body, for holding my spirit here, for being here for me, right? You can take it deeper and you can spend minutes in the mirror. And if you do this, make sure that it's not critically staring at your features, but instead gazing at yourself as that whole being. Try your hardest to discard judgments, thoughts, critiques, desires for change, all these little things that pop up in your head. Breathe them away and try to bring in a look of acceptance and love. Look at yourself as you would look at a newborn baby, right? Remind yourself you are beautiful, worthy, and full of potential. Thank your eyelashes for blocking dust from your eyes. Thank your lips for smirking into that smile once in a while. Thank your skin for being that miraculous barrier between your inner world and the outer world. You do not have to come up with anything amazing or out of this world. Just like you don't have to be anything different to be special and unique. You just are. Right? You can try each night before you fall asleep to spend time seeking out feelings, impulses, sparks, twitches, pains, groans that take place naturally within your body. And just let them know you hear them. And be open to any reply which might pop up. So these are all kinds of tips and practices that you can work to engage your body and start a common ground of communion with your own body's infinite intelligence. Just thinking and noticing about it, I feel like, is a beautiful start in its own. So like I said, I will be doing a second half or further dive into the imagination and how that works with body intelligence to create functions, physiology, our army, our health. I am going to bring a bit of health and wellness and stress relief into this next episode and working with and finding harmony and happiness inside living in your vessel, because when we talk about body intelligence and we really start to dive into what it means to be alive, and we're saying the creator is us and we are here to experience this 3D world in these vessels, we are instruments, right? We're meant to be played in a harmonic way, which feels, sounds, resonates beautiful in this organic matrix. And so in this next episode, I'm going to be talking about ways to bring yourself into a more coherent, comfortable space of operation. So I hope you'll join me when I put that one out. And thank you again so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or critiques or questions, please leave a reply. I'd love to hear them. And I hope you have a beautiful day or evening.